Hello, my panda pals, and welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm going to cover part 2 of what happened on 90 Day Fiancé, Season 11, Episode 2. So buckle it up, guys, and let's get started. Let's check in with Jessica and Juan. The family of 5 check into the hotel, and Juan is super exhausted from the flight and he really wants to go to bed, but his 2 stepsons napped on the way there and they are now wide awake and ready to play with their new daddy.
No! He farted on this pillow. I'm the pillow king. And good come.
Juan tells us he's not overwhelmed yet. Sure, he hasn't been around kids that often, but he knows how kids are, and he's just happy that the kids are so comfortable to be around him. So Juan's father actually passed away when he was just 8 years old, and not only did this result in a lot of financial turmoil for him and his family, but he didn't have a father around to teach him things. So having to grow up without a dad makes him that much more determined to be the best father that he can be.
All the things I went through when I was a kid, it makes me want to be a good father for my son, a good stepfather.
It's a new day, and Juan is again disappointed that he had to share a hotel room with 3 other children because he really wanted to bang it out with his boo thing. So he's excited to be able to go home where they will have their own room and some privacy away from the kids.
It was more like a fatherhood night, I don't know. Hopefully the second night is better.
Oh, baby boy, this is your life now, okay? It is not a fatherhood night, it is just fatherhood. Period. They head out of Denver and make their way to Wyoming, and the longer they drive, the more Juan is realizing, whoa, where are all of the buildings going? Why is there nothing here?
30 minutes after, we start just seeing nothing. I don't even see houses. It don't look like people live around here.
Then Juan is like, so what do you guys do for fun in a place where everything seems to go to die? And Jess is like, oh, we love to play I Spy. And Juan is a little confused at how you can play a game about finding things in a place where there is absolutely nothing around to be found.
Jess and the boys like to play this game called I Spy, but the only thing they were spotting was like cows.
They finally get home and Juan gets the grand tour of the house and he's like, whoa, Jessica, I did not realize you were a live, laugh, love kind of girly.
I don't have no problem with the messages, but I think there's a lot of messages. It might be too much, I think.
Then they go to the basement to see their bedrooms, and Juan doesn't really want to sound too ungrateful, but he is definitely thinking, huh, this is not how I thought Americans live.
Don't know much about American houses. It is just different from how I saw it on FaceTime.
So they go down the stairs and they are in their bedroom. So there is no door, and they have a half bath in that room, and next to that half bath is the door to the boys' bedroom. And in their bedroom is the shower and their closet.
Jessica definitely told me there's a little privacy. I wasn't imagining this little. There is not even a little privacy. There's no privacy.
Jess does say that they do have a shower upstairs, but they have to go into the boys' bedroom to get their clothes out of the closet, so they might as well just take a shower in that bathroom.
I need privacy, and I think we need to find a better solution.
Jessica tells him that not having privacy is just another part of being a parent. Now, I am not a parent, but I feel like having a door will definitely help alleviate that issue, at least a little bit.
I need to talk to you.
But you need to go to bed.
Okay, I will.
Let's check in with Greg and Joan. Say hello to Greg. Greg is from Long Island, and he is a professional bread spanker.
People actually pay me extra to slap their dough a little bit more, spank their bread a little bit more.
He's a baker, in case anyone was confused. Greg tells us that he used to be 480 pounds and he absolutely hated the way that he felt, so he spent 2 years losing 200 pounds, and during that time, he decided to redefine who he was. So he pursued his passion of baking, and now he aspires to open up his own bakery. The only issue is he can be a little lazy. His words, not mine.
My work ethic can be a little laxed sometimes, right? Calls being lazy, I don't know. I'll start a project and I don't necessarily finish it.
Despite his lackluster dedication, he is doing his absolute best to work through it because his boo thing Joan is coming to live with him.
Absolutely just head over heels in love with this girl. Those big, beautiful eyes, and she's got just a nice big booty.
Now, Joan is from Uganda. The way that he met Joan is insane to me, okay? So Greg falls asleep on a flight on this random man's shoulder, and then he strikes up a conversation with him. They end up talking for like 6 to 8 hours. Turns out the guy owns a safari company in Uganda, and they hit it off so well that he actually invites Greg to visit him there. So Greg ends up going to Uganda to stay with him, and while he's checking into the guest house, he runs into Joan. The two of them talk a little bit. He thinks she's fine as hell, but he ends up going home without exchanging any of their contact information. So she just becomes the girl that got away at that point. And then a year goes by, and Joan finds him on social media and slides into his DMs, and now they're engaged.
And I proposed to her on her birthday.
Greg loves living in Long Island, and he thinks that Joan will adapt very well, but it can be very expensive to live here.
The average starter home on Long Island is $400,000 to $500,000. I'm nowhere near that position to put down a deposit on a family home for sure.
So right now, he lives with his mother. Joan knows this. Joan hates this. She does not want to live with his mom and has told him she really wants her own space and privacy for them to just be themselves.
But I'm hoping she's cool with the fact that we're possibly going to be living there for a year, up to 2 years.
Yeah, so that is a better than best case scenario, okay? Joan will not be able to work for a while once she gets here, and you want to open up a bakery. Now, unless that bakery is selling cupcakes with a side of crack, you are going to be living in your mother's house for like 5 years minimum, okay? And that is not a dig on bakeries. That's just saying that opening up a small business is incredibly difficult, and it takes a lot of time for it to grow into something sustainable. Greg's mom is cooking them lunch, and Greg comes in. He's like, "Hey, what'd you do today, mother?" And she's like, "Oh, you know, did all of your laundry, cleaned up your room, took out your garbage, washed all the dishes you left in the sink last night. So you know, same thing I do every day for my 35-year-old big boy."
I'll go in his room and scoop everything up that's dirty. I'll have to clean the bathroom upstairs, straighten out his room when he leaves the room, put out the garbage. Do I boil him maybe a little?
A little? Ma'am, he is 35. Do you also wipe his butt for him after he takes his big boy poopies? Greg asks his mom how she's feeling about Joan coming to live with them, and she says that she's very excited, but she's definitely going to be looking at how Joan treats him and talks to him. His mom says that she's worried Joan is going to take advantage of him because Greg is a very kind, caring, and trusting person.
Can be a little naive when it comes to relationships. My fear is that him being taken advantage of.
Greg seems like a nice guy, but ma'am, in what ways can this man be taken advantage of? Because to me, it sounds like he ain't got no job, he ain't got no money, he lives with his mom, where he does zero domestic labor. And then his mom is like, "You know what? That's actually gonna be pretty weird, okay? It's only been you in your room for this whole time, and now there's gonna be a girl there? I don't know, I just feel like I'm gonna be uncomfortable."
Having sex, being intimate, right? Is that what you're worried about?
Would you consider separate rooms?
You do know that you can make the beast with two backs anywhere, right? Like, it can be outside of the bedroom. So his mom wants them to be in separate rooms until they get married, and Greg thinks that this is a pretty stupid idea because they're gonna get married in 90 days. Also, after you get married, you are going to be living in that house for years. Greg is like, "What spare room do we have that she is gonna live in?"
So, like, having her in a separate room for what, 60 days?
I mean,
which room is she gonna live in?
And his mom is just like, "I mean, we can just put a futon up against a wall somewhere."
Listen, we have a futon on one end of the wall.
Can't do that to her. That's not right.
Greg does not want to sleep in separate rooms, but this is his mother's house and he does not pay rent, so he can only argue with her about it so much. Greg heads to his friend Laura's house so that he can fix up some of her plumbing.
I don't have a typical 9 to 5. Plumbing is just a means to an end, not something I'm very passionate about.
He makes his money by selling his bread and being a handyman once in a while to some of his family and friends. Laura is like, "Man, I cannot believe that you fell in love with a woman from another country."
Straight up, it's not been easy. I don't want to screw up because you have no idea the sacrifice she made.
And Greg tells her that Joan is actually taking a huge loss coming to America.
She is the director of a nonprofit organization. She does have a bachelor's degree in marketing and finance, so she's relatively well off.
Greg tells us he won the lottery because Joan's ambition and success show him that she is not coming to America just for a green card or a better life, but because she loves him and wants to be with him.
Life is pretty much better in Uganda, if you ask her. I think she's in for a rude awakening coming here.
And then he says that he's gonna work really hard to get his bakery up and running, and Laura is pretty skeptical about it becoming his main source of income because Greg, he doesn't really ever seem to have a solid plan about anything, and he keeps just saying, we will cross that bridge when we get there.
Try to start thinking a little bit more in today and not always, I'll get there when I get there. You need to grow up a little bit.
Let's check in with Sarper and Shekinah. Sarper is looking like a sad little puppy, and he gives Shekinah the worst possible news.
They didn't let me. They didn't permit me.
You're kidding me.
Shekinah is like, what the heck? You had everything ready. And then Sarper is like, psych.
It will be unfair to let you in
Why?
because I'm too handsome.
Sarper is like, I got my K1, baby. And he tells us that the feeling of being approved, easily one of the top 3 best feelings in the world.
Peeing, orgasm, and K1. The 3 best things in this life.
How much do you hold your pee in that peeing feels orgasmic to you? Now that he's been approved, he's got to tell his parents that their only child, the child that was supposed to take care of them in their old age, is moving to America and will not be back for many, many years.
It won't be so easy to tell them. The worst scenario can be if they say, don't go. I don't know what to do then.
The two head out to break the news to his family, and Shekinah tells Sarper that he wears his emotions on his face, so he better smile when he talks to his parents, because if he looks sad, then they are gonna know he is worried and stressed and tell him not to go.
Try to smile a little. Yeah, not that smile. That one looks too fake.
They all sit down and Sarper gets right down to business.
Şeyi biliyorsunuz zaten, K1'a başvurduğumuz zaman da biliyorsunuz.
Evet.
Sonuç onayladılar.
And then he tells his family the game plan. He's gonna go to America, has 90 days to get married, and if they do get married, he cannot come back for a very long time. If they don't get married, he's gonna come right back and they can act like nothing ever happened because him and Shekinah are gonna break up.
Ama şu anda ben sanki bunu şey gibi düşünmenizi istiyorum. Ben tatile gidiyorum 3 aylığına.
His dad is like, so how are we gonna visit you in 3 months for your wedding? We are not gonna be able to get visas that fast.
Düğünde müğünde olamayacaksınız maalesef. Yani olursa.
And that, my Panda Pals, is all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you are not subscribed yet, go ahead, click that subscribe button, give this video a big thumbs up, and let me know down in the comments what you thought. I hope to see you for the next one. And as always, thanks for not letting me ride this train wreck alone. Bye.